explore the amazing world of the paranormal and unexplained.
Good evening, guys, and welcome to a brand new show to be broadcasting every Saturday. It's called Zone Unknown. What's Zone Unknown all about? Well, we get to that in a bit, but before we want to introduce the two guys that are going to be spending Sunday night with me, in the virtual sense, I might add, we have Stuart Tidmarsh, who you might remember from our UKPM radio days. Hello to you, Stuart.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. Glad to be back on air, yeah?
Oh, definitely. It's been too long.
Don't lie. So I had to blackmail you into it.
I'm still waiting for that tenner to come through.
Yeah, well, you have a long wait. And also, we have with us, we're very, very pleased to be joined by this guy, because this guy is so knowledgeable. He's been doing it for a long, long time. Dave Sadler. Hello to you, Dave.
I'm crap. I know nothing.
Yeah, don't give us that. Right, Dave. People that have been listening to UKPN know about yourself because you was a guest on the show for quite a few times. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been involved in, because I know you've got a group out there as well.
Indeed. Well, the organisation I set up back in 1998 is called the Unknown Phenomena Investigation Association, who basically look at everything everything the show's going to cover. Your ghosts, your paranormal, your UFOs, cryptozoology, and anything else really of consequence. Been involved in all manner of profound and unusual things, and met some profound and unusual people, which was nice. We've had a few changes, a lot of changes. Recently, we've evolved again, where we're looking at being more of a consultancy organisation than an investigation association, having people, a certain select amount of people throughout the country who we could pass cases on to throughout the country, who we believe will be able to offer a professional and unbiased, impartial and honest opinion on paranormal cases.
Oh, good luck with that.
So there you go. That's basically, well, there are some people out there of consequence. There are some half-wits, but there you go.
Oh, now, come on. Now, we know that there are a lot of half-wits. Yeah, that's what you will get used to on this show, guys. Anyone listening? We don't pull our punches.
No.
There are a lot of idiots involved with the paranormal, and like Dave's saying, finding a group that you can trust not to go in and scare the life out of people is going to be a hard task. But there are groups out there that do it right, but unfortunately there are an awful lot of other groups out there that do it wrong, and that's who we got to try and find, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah,
it is. There's far too many half-wits out there, and people are causing undue amounts to people who, if they spoke to the right people, would quite easily be able to be sorted out. The cases that they're coming with, the information they're giving, people can quite easily go in there and help them as a part to make things worse.
Exactly. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit more, hopefully, later on, but let's start by telling these guys Zone Unknown is going to be all about. I mean, basically, anyone that's got an interest in the paranormal, explained, weird stuff, whatever you want to call it, this is what we are going to be trying to cover. Now, we're not going to start off by bamboozling you all with long words that for one, I'm not going to know what they mean, okay? So we're going to try and take it from the start, kind of Paranormal 101. We're going to look at some cases, tell you guys about them, tell you about our findings, that kind of stuff. We're also going to be having guests on every week. That's the plan. Not just the guys you've seen on TV and heard about in the papers. Yes, we are going to have those on because they got so much to say, but we're also going to have guys on that you will never have heard of that are been out there working within the paranormal and unexplained field for years. and have got some fantastic stories to tell. So
I just put in there, Gary, and say
they
are actually the people we want to hear from, because they are the people who are actually doing the work, not the ones in paper, not the ones on television. Because let's face it, they're the ones who are mostly sold out to the media and are telling you what the media want you to hear and what you want to hear, rather than what's the honest, unbiased truth.
Exactly. You've got people, like you say,
I agree.
They want to do it because they've got a genuine interest. Fortunately, because of the TV and these big faces and a lot of money out of it, there's a lot of fame hunters out there that want that. Now, I've not got time for those people. I really haven't. You know, I want to hear the guys that are down in the mud doing it. You know, that have found the evidence, and they're the ones that are like breaking the barriers down. That's what we want.
Yeah,
okay. Yep, absolutely. Right, so what shall we do to start with, guys? This is why we call it Zone Unknown, because we ain't got a clue what we're doing. No, not seriously. What I want to start with doing, there's going to be a lot of people out there, and I know there's people listening that have got a genuine interest in the paranormal and haven't got a clue. The first thing about it, their only sort of view about the paranormal is watching Most Haunted or Taps, you know, the ghost hunters and that kind of stuff. So how do you do a paranormal investigation, Dave? You get a phone call, you get an email from a person that's saying, look, I think I'm experienced this and this in my house, okay? I'm terrified to death. I've had a group in, and the medium in that group has told me I'm possessed by an elemental spirit or something like that. What's the first thing you do?
Find a big stick and go and find the medium, probably.
Yeah. All right, the second thing.
Well, you know, obviously we try and have a quite a long discussion with the individual who's reporting the case. We've got a series of, we all have a series of questions that we discuss with the witness, which we try and find out a lot more about the case. We'd also ask them to diarise any events that take place, keep a diary of things which, you know, they think are important to the case itself and to us finding out any more about what's going on. We'd try and pay a visit, take a look at the location, start researching the location's history, find out about that a bit more. We've got a series of questionnaires that we then go through with the witness to try and ascertain exactly what's occurring, and see if from that questionnaires we're usually able to ascertain exactly what areas we need to be looking at. If it's an audible occurrence, we'd look at audible, obviously the backgrounds in the audio range. If it's visually, we'd look at visual range. And if it's other things that could point to possibly some physiological, psychological or medical conditions, we'd try looking at them. You know, we'd get every single piece of information we get from the witness. We'd get trying to get them to record any phenomena that took place, the time, the date, the weather conditions, if they're able to bring other people's attention to it, if they've got a secondary witness, time and duration of the sighting. The more information, the more data that they can give us makes our job a lot easier. You know, we're asking them for smells, we're asking them for sounds, mists, anything unusual, disappearances, appearances, object movements, anything irrational to the witness. I mean, most of this you could probably come back a while later and be able to offer an understanding as to what's actually occurred and find out, you know, there's all manner of things that could be taking place, from minor earth movement, building movement, anything like that. We'd be able to get all the information together and then look at, and this could be, I don't know, 3 or 4 months down the line, actually looking at the case in an investigation on site with all the equipment and whatnot. But, you know, as I said, the most important thing for me personally would be data about the events, my data from environmental meters, you know, your EMF meters, things like that. Get as much information as we possibly can, and then go away and crunch the data and see if we're able to find anything from that data which we can give us an answer to what it is, and then maybe discount that answer. Or in the case of EMF, if there's a high electrical build-up in the building, old wiring or something, get some authority to look at that, replace it if necessary. It could be something as, although it doesn't sound simple, something as simple as that affecting an individual. And if that's the case, we can discount that and hopefully things could alter.
Right. Well, you just saying about EMF. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. Anyone that doesn't know, EMF stands for electromagnetic field. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dave, but EMF is created by anything with an electrical current going through it. You can have a filing cabinet that's been vibrated by traffic can give you an EMF trace. There's lots of other things that can give off an EMF signal of some kind. Now, the theory is that when a spirit is trying to manifest in the ether, that it has to manipulate energy in order to do that. Now, this is all theory. I'm not saying I believe it, all right, but this is the general sort of feeling out there. Some say that manipulation of energy can be measured on an EMF meter. Now, the other reason that guys like Dave check for EMF variations is because another theory says, and it's not so much a theory, it's sort of a given fact now, that high levels of EMF, if you're particularly susceptible to them, can reproduce what some people might think are paranormal activity going on around them, like things out the corner of their eye, feelings of dread, nausea, auditory phenomena, that kind of stuff. Is that about right, Dave?
I don't see why not. I mean, EMF, we know it's there, we know it exists, we know it affects the physiology as opposed to people going out and finding EMF because that's what ghosts produce when they walk past. All these things that you said is right. Anything could produce EMF, really. Anything that, in reality, produces energy. Right.
So there's you're a big advocate of the geomagnetic frequency as well, aren't you?
Yeah. The Earth's natural energies that's emitting, again, affecting the physiology and affecting other things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've all seen it. You've seen it as well, Stuart, haven't you? People going in, waving around the K2 meter, it's going off, and they're all screaming ghost. It's really infuriating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolute nightmare with it. So there are a lot of different EMF meters out there. Those of you that watch TAPS, Ghost Hunters, should I say, will have seen the K2. That's their favourite weapon of choice on that. The early series of Most Haunted, they used the cell sensor.
Tri-field meter as well, wasn't it?
That's the one I'd use personally. I prefer to use one that costs a bit of money and is a bit heavier. I tend to find that the heavier something is, the better quality it is. The tri-field meter.
Well, something I've tried to make people understand for a while now is that all these nice little gadgets that you see people on telly using are generally crap. If you're picking up something £30, all it's going to do is measure the electrics in your wall to show you where the electrics exist in your wall. If people are serious about checking for EMF, they need to go out and they need to buy things that are standard to health and safety organisations. You need to buy the equipment. Some of this is thousands of pounds, stuff that I can't afford. But when it falls into something that you can afford, you're talking about the tri-field meters, both GM and EM.
That's right, because what people don't understand, majority of this equipment you see being used wasn't actually developed for finding ghosts, was it?
No.
Well, whatever has been done for using anything that's for finding ghosts. You've got people out there claiming that they're building the equipment and creating this equipment that can go out and find ghosts. At the end of the day, do ghosts exist? Does the paranormal exist? But do ghosts exist in the manner that people think they do? All this energy that's created, and can you actually physically, check for stuff that's out there that these ghosts are living off, or whatever people claim?
Exactly.
No evidence of it. When I go out with an EMF meter, I'm checking to see if there's anything that's affecting me or other people in the vicinity.
That's right. That's right. You cannot build a detector for something that you don't know what it's made of. You haven't got the parameters there to build that equipment. You haven't got the information you need in order to build a piece of equipment to detect something you don't know what it's made of or whether it actually exists. So, you know, it's... Go on, Stu.
No, I was just going to say, you could talk about Michael Persinger. He's actually spent years studying the effects of EMF on the human brain.
Ah, the God helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... well, you know about that, Stu. What does the God helmet consist of?
Well, it's basically electromagnets built into all around like a sort of helmet, and the brain is bombarded with certain measures of electromagnetic force, and it's found that it produces certain like hallucinations, cold of the eye phenomenon, sickness, nausea, and he's putting it down to this could be the environment causing all these, like seeing all these things and apparitions.
Yeah, which absolutely. Is in fact much the same as what we're wearing now. You know, I know things have electric equipment is, you know, up to date and what have you, and it gets better every day. But in effect, it's exactly what we're wearing now. The earphones we're wearing now is essentially a magnet on either side of our head.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, let me just say before we carry on, there seem to be a few people that are having trouble sort of listening to the show. They've been listening to yesterday's trial where me and Stuart were just talking rubbish.
Because I was in hospital.
It's a teething trouble that we are going to get sorted. The actual show tonight should be showing up on the right-hand side of the chat room there. It's not. It's still showing yesterday's trial show. So if you have been listening to that, I do apologise. That was a load of crap. This is more like what it's going to be, okay? So hopefully those guys will get it sorted in a second and we'll hear us gassing away. So that's kind of covered EMF meters. Yeah, it does bug me that because you do see a lot of people using this equipment wrong. And another big contender for that is the FLIR meter. You know, you see them, they've spent out thousands of pounds, and I ain't seen one person using it right yet. You know, the FLIR meter, the FLIR is a full-looking infrared camera, and it basically it picks up heat and cold spots. And people put a lot of emphasis on what they see on these things, and they don't really sort of know how to sort of look at the data properly that they're getting, and they just scream ghost all the time. And it's really annoying. Is it something you've ever used, Dave?
I haven't, no. When it comes to money at the end of the day, and, well, UPIA, any money we've ever made has been ploughed back into the organisation with, well, you and your wife, Sam, paid a visit a couple of weeks ago, and I showed you the likes of the equipment that we've been investing in. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of money, so, you know, the likes of flare meters, something to write onto the future, but currently, you know, I'll just have to work without it.
I think they've got their place. Have you used one, Stuart?
I've never used one, but as you said, you don't know how to use it properly. And what funny is if you did pick anything up, you wouldn't know how to interpret it, would you?
Exactly.
If you leant against a wall and someone coming after you, if you do an investigation, you'd still pick the heat source off of the wall. Yeah. So you can't justify it really, unless you're somewhere who's just like yourself and no one else about. Yeah, the phrase "all the gear, no idea" springs to mind with that one. Yeah, people have got more money than knowledge. Which is why, again, I'm an advocate of people going out and actually researching the equipment that they're using as opposed to what they're using the equipment for. Exactly. Oh, do you know, when people phone a group up and they're obviously terrorised in their house, they've watched too many horror films, or they've watched these so-called paranormal TV shows, in inverted commas, and they've convinced themselves they've got a ghost. You know, they don't know what to expect when this group turns up. I mean, they could turn up with the Ghostbusters mobile, and these guys get out with the old proton packs on their back. They don't know what to expect. So usually people turn up, they got all these cases of gear, and like Dave said, they've done absolutely no research on the history of this stuff. They don't get the stuff calibrated, which was a talking point a couple of weeks back, wasn't it, Dave? Yeah, when I was, trying to ask questions about group, why they were using an EMF. Well, they created a piece of equipment which could
make you listen to EMF sounds. And I was asking about the equipment and asking about other things, and said that, you know, UPI equipment is all standardised and all the testing's done on it and what have you. And I was asked the question by somebody as to what I actually have mine tested to, which is ISO 17025, I think, if I remember correctly, because at the time I was lying there and couldn't be arsed moving and emptying cases to try and find the equipment to look on the back of it. But there you go. But yeah, somebody called me out the other week about that, and there you go. There's your answer.
Exactly, and you've got to get it calibrated, because stuff will go out of calibration from time to time. It's just a matter of fact. You know, you've got to get that piece of equipment tested, otherwise you can't rely on the readings it's giving you. So if you're stood in a room with a K2 meter, for instance, hopefully you won't be, but if you are, and it keeps bleeping up to red every few seconds, first of all, turn your phone off, because that'll cause you know, but that could be given a totally different reading to what it is actually giving off in the room, you know. So that's another important thing. Get your stuff checked, you know, if you are going to place emphasis on these readings. Okay, so we've covered EMF. We've covered the FLIR camera. If you've got many thousands of pounds and you want to spend it on doing this kind of thing, you crack on, by all means. Stop sending me footage.
And if you've got enough money, send me one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually sponsored by FLIR.
But please stop sending me the footage of it and say, yeah, look at this, oh gosh, I'll go away. Right, okay. Right, so what else do we use on investigations? Let's talk about EVPs for a bit, because these are always good for a laugh. EVPs.
Well, hold on, I've got to stop you there and not ask to be included in this part of the conversation, because it's crap. Carry on without me, though.
Oh no, that's not the spirit, is it? Right, we've got to give all sides of the story on this one. Okay, EVP, electronic voice phenomena. You'll have heard it, you'd have seen it on the TV. I'm sure you would have done, but if you haven't, electronic voice phenomena. They've got a digital voice recorder, and they've got it on record, and they're sat in this room. And they're asking out to these spirits, if you're here, come and talk to us, come and say something to us, make a bang, tell us your name, blah, 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 blah. And they pause for a couple of seconds, and then they ask another question, and this goes on for 3/4 of an hour. And then some poor bugger goes off and sits there listening to hours and hours and hours of all this stuff going on. Now, in between these little segments you've left, you'll hear all these weird noises. And invariably you will hear weird noises, because these digital voice recorders do pick up all sorts. The geezers on telly won't tell you that, but they will pick up radio stations. They will pick up mobile phone signals to an extent. Anything, they'll pick it up. They'll pick up the neighbour's dog barking. You can't hear it, but they can, kind of thing, yeah? And they'll try and work out what's being said. Now, if you've seen it done on TV, you'll see "get out."
Exactly what I was going to say. Every place.
Or what's the favourite?
You're stupid.
Yeah, it's swear words, that kind of stuff. And you'll hear all this malarkey. This is the classic example of a piece of equipment not being used properly. Okay? If you're going to do it, for God's sake, and if you're going to show it on TV, don't put on the bottom of the screen what's being said as you're listening to it, because that's exactly what you're going to hear. Okay?
Audible pareidolia.
Exactly.
Yep.
We'll talk about pareidolia in a minute, though. You can explain what that is. So that's basically what it is, yeah? It's trying to get these incarnate voices to be picked up on a digital voice recorder. Now, if you're going to do it, I strongly suggest get one of the old analog ones as well. Stick that next to it and see if that picks up the same thing. You know, if a ghost says, "Hello, I'm the ghost of Napoleon Bonaparte, pleased to meet you," I'll be well impressed with that. But it isn't. All that you normally get is some sound that sounds a bit like... That's basically what you get on an EVP. It's absolutely shocking. I don't pay a lot of mind to it. I mean, I've got better things to do in my life than sit there and listen to hours and hours of audio from one of those. And like, I'll tell you a classic example. right? And this will tell you exactly why I don't like them. I heard an EVP. It was on a radio show on another station, and they were investigating. You'll remember this, Stuart. You'll know what I'm on about in a minute.
Yeah.
They were investigating this place, and they're asking out, is there anybody here? And you can hear big band music. You can hear this like brass band music in the background. They're in this old abandoned warehouse. So there's no way that this big band music can come through. And they're getting all these like random words and all this coming through, and they can't place it, they can't figure it, and they're making a massive thing about it. Wow, this is proof. This has got to be the proof. Well, what they didn't know, well, they were half a mile away from the main antenna from the local radio station that played, guess what? Big band music. And they're picking it up with their digital voice recorder. So this is exactly what I'm talking about, all right? You get random words come through. They might be just these stray radio signals, segments coming through. So I wouldn't give it tuppence, all right? That's just my opinion. Stuart, what do you think about them?
Well, I think exactly the same as you. Because I thought you was going on to your other favourite thing then.
Which one?
The broken radio.
Oh, no, that's another. Dave loves him. Don't you, Dave?
What? Sorry? What?
We are talking about the Frank's box.
Yeah, you can stick that way. The sun don't shine as well. Come on, it's Frank's box. Oh, yeah, Frank's got a box. Let's use it, go find ghosts. Come on, give me a break.
Well, I'm looking in the chat room.
Helen's matchbox and the droopy drawers as well. Should we use them?
Well, I know we've got people listening that do use them and do put a lot of stuff in them, and I'll tell you a story in a bit, okay?
Well, they can keep them and they can use them.
Yeah.
Don't come to me with your rubbish.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Brian Saunders, he's in the chat room. Hello to you, Brian. Lol, so far no EVP has managed to give a full name and surname, in my experience, and that's after I've spent rather a lot of money on sound equipment. Strangely enough, I got exactly the same results with cheap old analogue Samuel talk books, i.e. mainly cross-modulation sounds or better geomagnetic or better stellar magnetic sounds. There you go. So Brian's out there, he's doing it. He spent all the money buying the stuff, and he still hasn't come up with anything as far as EVPs go. So there you go. No, the Frank's box. Let's have a laugh, okay? The Frank's box, the ghost box, the spirit box, the broken radio, whatever you want to call it.
Brokeback Mountain, can we call it that?
You already call it what you want, mate.
Brokeback Mountain it is.
Right. Now, I hated these things, absolutely hated them for years, okay? And I was working away with a group not so long ago. Rose, she's there, she's in the chat room. She actually owns the group. And we were using these Frank's boxes. It's actually, I say it's a group. They actually do the public stuff where you go along and these ghost hunters show you around these locations and do, call out for spirits, that kind of stuff. Now, we were using one of these Frank's boxes, and I'm stood there and I'm rolling my eyes and tutting and all sorts. And I said, right, if you're here, do something now. And out come this Frank's box, F off, it said. Right? And it didn't say F either. So I'm like, right, okay. I've never heard that happen before. I don't know whether I'm picking up some taxi driver's conversation here or whatever. Yeah. But it kept swearing. Now, obviously, if that was a taxi driver, he couldn't hear me. If it was a radio segment that we were picking up, I can't explain that either because you're not allowed to swear on the radio. The jury's out on that. Now, I'm not saying it's paranormal because it more than likely isn't, but that was kind of a weird one with me. And me and Stuart had kind of a strange thing once.
Yeah.
Once. With a ghost box. Now, I'll explain what the ghost box is.
Now, the only thing that a ghost box is actually going to do that's strange, it's move on its own accord, isn't it? Come on.
Yes.
I'll carry on.
Yes. Well, let me explain what one is, and then people
verbally
can
slap me if you want.
No, mate. This is why I thought you made a fantastic host, Dave, because you don't pull your punches. This age. Right. We were a ghost box. It's a box. Well, it's ghost. No, it started life as a radio. Okay, and basically, if you imagine, if you're sat in your car and you press scan on your radio in your car, it will scan up or down, depending on which button you press, until it finds a strong signal, it'll lock onto that signal and play that station. Well, the ghost box doesn't. Okay, it just keeps up and down, up and down, up and down. Most people use it on the AM band, so they say they get better results with it on the AM band. And
not because there's more like, interference from abroad and words that will come into it on there.
Allegedly, I don't know.
Okay.
All right, okay. But that's what they use it on. And the theory behind it is that the spirits can talk to you in the background white noise. That's what they're actually listening for. Now, you will get a lot of random... Like, as it scans through a station, you might hear a DJ say Dave, and then it will scan on. Oh, your name's Dave. We got Dave with us. Where are you from, Dave?
Just because you're using my name doesn't mean I'm going to subscribe to this.
Well, we was hoping that.
But that's what happens, basically. Any noise that comes through that sounds like a word is picked up on, and it's big things made of it. Now, Dave said it's on AM, so it will pick up virtually everything. You are going to hear a lot of sound bites from DJs. You're going to hear a lot of names. You'll hear a lot of places. You'll hear a lot of sounds that aren't a word that sound like a word. And it kind of gets jumped on where it shouldn't. I don't think personally it's a proper piece of paranormal equipment that you would actually use to try and find to use a spirit communication. I wouldn't bother with it. But a lot of people do put a lot of faith in it. There are radio shows here on Blog Talk that are devoted to it. And the Obulus, there's the other one I bet Dave likes. The I Obulus. Yeah, why not?
Says what?
What?
Right, all right then, come on in. What's an Obulus do, Stu?
Yeah, tell me, Stu, I ain't got a clue. I don't even know how you spell it. I can't even Google it.
It's S-H-I-T, isn't it? Or something?
Yeah, that's how it's spelled, yeah. Come on.
Basically, it's a pre-programmed device that if it picks up an electromagnetic signal or frequency, it uses it and converts it into a word. Bear in mind, it's about 500 words stored into it, so it can only use them words which are in there.
So it's an electronic speech synthesis device which utters words depending on environmental readings.
You just Googled that, haven't you?
I'm on Wikipedia now.
Yeah, I was just going to say well done.
Oh dear, I love it. Yeah, but that's basically what it is. So the thing is with that is you can program in the 500 words that it says. So if you program in 500 spooky words, that's what it's going to come out with. Now, I heard a show one night here on Blog Talk, and I used to kind of troll these shows looking for an argument.
But you've been banned.
Because it was I didn't get banned from that one. I left. I was so disgusted. But I was in the chat room, and there's this guy, and he's doing a live Obulus session, and I'm killing myself laughing. I'd had a few bevies at the time, and he's sitting there. He's saying, "Right, he's turned this thing on. Is there anybody here with me that would like to communicate?" Window came from this Obulus. The word window. Window? Are you telling me you're stood at the window? Freeway. Oh, you stood at the window. You died on the freeway? Car. You were in a car and you died on the freeway? And then it kept saying upstairs. Oh, you're upstairs now. So if he was telling a story. It was like Jack and Ori from this Obulus. And this is what we're up against. And people were lapping it up. Anyway.
That's what the half-wits, I won't call them half-wits. That's what the bomb bot, no, I won't call them bomb bot. Let me find a word that doesn't abuse anybody. That's what people want to hear. That's what the the media want the public to believe. That's media. That's films. That's what people want. They're all stupid people.
If I remember correctly, guys, we did it on air, didn't we? We done like a session just to show how sort of useless it was.
Yeah. And
basically, it was the same sort of thing: window, chair, falling, and that sort of thing, wasn't it?
And yeah, you can make a story up, basically. And there's an app for it now, isn't there? On the phone. So these people walking around on these investigations.
How many of these half-wit groups have actually downloaded an EMF meter onto their iPhone and gone, there is a ghost in the room?
Yeah, Ghost Radar, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ghost Radar. Cracks up. Now,
can I just say, I think I upset a medium once using the Oculus.
Only once?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't allowed back, was I?
No. It's ace. So you people like listening, you might think that we're deliberately nitpicking, right? But we don't just sit and listen and talk on a radio show. We've been out there for years doing this, okay? We've been out there investigating, working with various groups, going on radio shows, sitting there till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning on these blog talk radio shows, because a lot of them are American, till silly o'clock, listening to some of these wallies going on about...
Bad.
Sorry?
You might come in bad.
Yeah, well, this is me. See, I'm sad like that, and I'm captivated by the stuff that these people lap up. And you go in to the chat room and try and give a different opinion, and you just get roasted. You get banged and everything. Oh, sorry, mate. And you ain't even got to do it nastily, really. You just got to say, hang on, have you guys ever thought of the idea that what you're listening to with regards to that EVP is nothing more than pareidolia? What? It was you heard the name, and we have actually been, and we've done all the research, and we have actually found the name John associated with that building. Oh my days. It is an absolute nightmare. So, right, anyway, pareidolia, you've heard us talk about it a couple of times. What's pareidolia, Stuart?
Oh, I thought you were going to let Dave explain.
Hey, what's pareidolia?
It's not simulacra anyway. Again, you've got so many people out there subscribing to certain all-seeing, all-singing, all-dancing, mighty people on the telly who call it simulacra, which, in effect, is a likeness similarity. Pareidolia is... It's basically you see something and your brain formulates it into what you think it is. There was a photograph me and you were looking at the other night, Gary, on I can't say that because it's swearing. Some site on Facebook anyway.
Yeah.
And somebody had took a photograph of a dog was barking at the window and there was a little girl in the window.
Yeah.
And it looked like a little girl. Now, what you couldn't see was what was to the left and the right-hand side of the door. In respect of reflection, you couldn't see that. You know, our brains work in a certain manner. It's like a digital camera. If you think of a digital camera, it takes a photograph. If there's some pixelation or it can't get some information, it fills in what it thinks should be right, which is exactly the same as our brain does in some respects. And in other respects, it decides... oh, yeah, that looks like that. Something else in our brain's database, it looks like something else, therefore it's that. And in short, that's it. Am I still on air? Because everything's gone dead quiet.
That's because we're listening.
Hello?
Yeah,
hello?
Yeah, go on, carry on.
I do apologise. Everything disappeared then. You also have got to include EVP into it as well. Again, what you said before, if somebody says I hear dead people, and they write underneath the audio file, I see dead people, whatever, your automatically brain's going to know that and it's going to look for that. It's going to hear that.
So it's basically our brain is trying to make a pattern out of chaos. Like seeing
it's a psychological phenomenon involving a vague and random stimulus, typically a sound or image being perceived as significant.
He's on Google again.
I'm not on Google.
We can't prove it.
I'm impressed. I like it.
I'm on the UPIA website.
Oh, there you go then. See? Yeah, well, don't worry. We'll give you plenty of chance to, what's the word? Promote, whatever.
Promote's more civilised, I think.
Do what you like, mate. It's a brilliant site. Have a look after the show, guys. You will. It's not one of these airy-fairy rubbish things that, you know, Jesus and angels and all that love and light.
pay us to go to spooky places either.
No.
Oh, that was a dig.
Oh, shocker.
I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed.
You do what you like, mate.
No, come on.
No.
Some sounds.
Right. So there you go. There's the obvious. Right. Let's try and think of some other equipment that's used.
Digital thermometers.
Digital thermometers. The digital thermometer or the laser thermometer? Either or. Okay.
Yes.
Thermometers. Why do we use thermometers? You've heard of
temperature, you silly man.
Yeah. Well, why is that important on a paranormal investigation? Why is the temperature?
Well, do you know if the temperature affects the physiology in any way, shape, or form?
Do I know?
Does it? Does the temperature affect the physiology? Does the brain start reacting in a different manner at a certain temperature?
Well, no, it slows down as you get colder, doesn't it?
It slows down when you get colder, so do thought processes and things occur in that area where perceptions may be altered?
It's quite possible.
See, there's your answer. Can I go now?
No. But why are people looking for temperature drops?
People are generally looking for temperature drops because they believe that ghosts in the area make the temperature drop. Oh, there's a cold spot, therefore there must be a ghost standing there. There's no crack in the window. There can't be the slightest crack in the window or a slight crack in the brickwork or generally a cold house. It must be a ghost.
Yeah.
So that's why people look for it. I myself look for them cold spots to try and find out which windows leaking air in, which bricks leaking air in, etc., etc.
Right.
But also, if there's a group of people in a room, so if you're standing around doing a standing seance or all talking, heat from your body rises, and what it does is actually, when it rises, it pushes the cold air down. Because cold air is denser than hot air. So therefore, you get the cold spots, which will go around you and drop the temperature.
Right. So I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I'm not doing a very good job, but I'm trying. Okay. So you're in a room. You're in a sealed room. Let's say RAF Holton, which I've been to more times than I can remember. But
great. Pick somewhere I've never been to.
Well, you'll get the gist. It's an underground nuclear bunker. It's one of the early warning radar sites during the Cold War. And it's
Hack Green is our local one.
That's it.
It's reputably haunted, but isn't. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. Same as Holton, basically. But you're in a room and there's no breezes at all. All right, you can't feel the temperature's pretty static. You know, you've been there all night. The temperature's staying. I'm not talking about using one of these laser ones either. I'll get to those in a minute. But you've got your thermometer there and it's pretty stable. And the doors are shut. You're so many 100 feet underground. You're encased by concrete. You get a 10-degree temperature drop. What could cause that? Yes, I know you're going to say faulty equipment, the batteries are going, but you've got two of them, you see. You've got backup in case one does go kaput, and they've both registered a 10-degree temperature drop. What?
I would say that 10-degree temperature drop isn't significant at all. It's just a natural occurring temperature drop. Things can occur automatically.
Right.
I'm going now.
Well, good point, Brian, actually. He said, how fast did the temperature drop occur? Now, if it goes over a long period of time, I'd say, get on with it. It's getting cold because it's night time, temperatures do fluctuate. But if it happens in the space of 10 minutes, you've got to kind of start thinking there's something that's caused that. Now, if you're going down the ghosty route, some would say that's a spirit manipulating that energy that Gary was talking about, and it's causing that temperature drop. But this is the problem. Most people will always jump on the ghosty bandwagon rather than looking for an alternative explanation. Like, yes, there's a lot of ducting in there. As the geezer that runs it just turned on the doodah.
Oh, the doodah.
The doodah.
Is that new?
Is that like an hurdy-gurdy?
Ujima flip.
Ah, I know the one.
Yeah. Now, you know what I'm on about. What's it called? The air conditioning. That's the one.
There it is.
Sorry, I have these.
You can go now.
I do have these brain farts. But that's the sort of thing you've got to take on board, as that just happens. You know, there's a lot of ducting in that place. You're underground. It's sealed. So obviously they've got to have some kind of venting system in there. But people will jump on this ghosty bandwagon all the time without looking at alternative explanations, and that is what is infuriating about it. And we've got the wonders of television to thank for that. And I'm not going to knock them all evening, but it annoys the hell out of me. So, laser thermometers. Now, a laser thermometer, you will point at an object and it will tell you the temperature of it. And I've used these myself. I used to work on the ships as an engineer, and we'd have to take readings of hotspots on the engine. So rather than sticking your finger on it and going, yeah, bloody hot, you point a thermometer at it, it shoots out a laser beam, and it reads the temperature. Now, I've seen and heard these people saying, oh, these are good for hotspots. You can point them at the hotspot, and it will tell you what the reading is. No, it won't. It will tell you what the temperature of the wall is behind the hotspot or the cold spot. All right? So they are about as much use as an ashtray on a motorbike, in my humble opinion. What about you guys?
I agree. Better useful as a chocolate teapot.
Yep. Is it in your kit, Dave?
I've got 3.
Have you got 3? I haven't been them. Do you use them?
Why?
eBay.
Why? I want the temperature. I'll check the temperature. There's your temperature. Done. Don't need it again. Put it away.
Temperature?
See, no. Honestly now, right? I did a case, a place called Hampton Court Hotel in Milton Keynes. It was for Chinese TV.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for the laser thermometer, we wouldn't have found out what was causing what was happening. There was a significant temperature change. I think it was going hot in a certain area, as opposed to the cold spots. We were getting hot spots.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have found the exact. I'm unable to log it on the map of the room and what have you, and then go away and sort of underneath and up above and what have you, and find exactly what was occurring. There was obviously a heating pipe. If it wasn't for the laser thermometer, which is why I use it to check for temperature, not for changes of temperature, but to find the likes of that, the hot spot that we found. We found there was a hot spot. We went downstairs, we looked it on the map, we done all the measurements and what have you, went downstairs into the cellar and found there was a pipe underneath, a heating pipe. There's your answer, and that's why I personally use laser thermometers.
That's fair enough. Yeah, you're using.
No.
Yeah, but you're using them right.
Yeah.
I know, but you were both arguing that they should be thrown in a bin or put on eBay. And, to use a piece of equipment correctly is the right way to use a piece of equipment. Therefore, it's a useful tool to have at your disposal.
I don't know. I still don't like them.
You don't have to like them. They look cool as well.
No, they're all right if you want to shine them in your mate's eye. And
I'm a fan of Star Trek, you know what I mean? I love them.
No, I understand what you're saying. If you've got a hot place in the room and there are pipes running underneath it, and you can point it at that particular bit of the floorboard, and it's going to show up a hot spot or a cold spot. If you've got an air conditioning duct that you didn't know was there, and
so what you're saying, buddy, you're agreeing it's a useful tool?
No.
You wouldn't have one. You'd go into a building without one to find out all these.
No, I have had one. I had a yellow one.
A yellow one.
A yellow one.
Mine's here. Hold on, mine's here now. It's an Edison. There you go. And it looks proper like something out of Star Trek.
I bet you.
My temperature at the moment is 37.2 degrees.
Not bad.
Isn't it?
Low average.
Yeah.
To use another thermometer, take ages to get that. Straight away, bang.
No, I don't like them because a lot of people use them wrong. They use them.
Don't like them because people use them wrong. Admit it, they are a useful tool.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
I'm going to admit it, they are useful too.
Oh, guess it. Gang up.
Gary loses.
I'm not getting. No, I think.
Gary. Bye, Gary.
I can't eat worms. Right then. So, moving swiftly on. What should we talk about? I know. Ouija balls. Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah, Dave, convince me that they're useful.
Convince you that they're useful. Okay. A Ouija board is useful as an early, 1940s, 1950s MB game. It was created as a game, for a game, and the spiritualist community took it on and decided you can contact dead people, actually. There's your Ouija board.
1897.
What MB game?
No, it wasn't MB. Yeah, it might have been MB from then, but it was actually... See, I hear different things of this. Now, I've done a bit of research on this, and I can't seem to nail down the definitive answer for it. I took it that they were developed in the late 1890s by a couple of brothers, and a guy called William Fuld, F-U-L-D, took over production, and this Ouija board was born, you know, and they used it for, like, fortune telling and stuff like that. And
Elijah Bond.
Who?
Elijah Bond was the businessman who was first using them for, it was actually Hasbro, not MB Games, in the 1890s. And it was used as a harmless parlor game, unrelated to the occult, until American spiritualist Pearl Curran popularized it as a divining tool during World War One.
Right. Yep.
Wikipedia.
He's on Google. On Wikipedia.
Oh, it must be true if he's on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
I'm just
verified
on there. Excuse me. Some of my best articles have been copied from Wikipedia.
Don't tell everyone.
Hey, it gets down to plagiarism.
Yeah. No. Ouija boards. It was a fortune-telling device, as Dave said, and then it was utilised for spirit communication. Like in the heyday, Victorian times, didn't have TV, so they would all sit round the table and play with this thing, and, you know, and no harm was done and no one got possessed. Until the film The Exorcist come out, and the young girl is down in the cellar talking to Captain Howdy, and then all of a sudden it's the most evil thing since sliced bread. You know, it's like no one wants to touch them, no one wants to be in the same room as them. And it's a piece of board with letters and numbers on. And you're not going to get possessed by it. It doesn't open up a portal. You know, it's just complete and utter media hype. If you wrote the alphabet on a bit of paper, 1 to 9 and then 0, or 0 to 9, whatever, yes and no, it don't automatically make it evil, does it? And it's exactly the same as a Ouija board. They're not baptised under a full moon with ram's blood. They're mass-produced in a factory by a bloke called Ken or something, you know? So that's my theory on Ouija boards, guys. Crack on. What do you think?
I'll let you go then.
No, I agree. First of all, I mean, if you initially start using them, if it's all spooky, but the thing is, if it's not pitch black and people know what's laid on it, they're going to know where the letters are. So you're always going to get someone there pushing it about, or I mean, we've seen it, people doing it with the glasses and things. So it can't be verified as a proper, like, a valid tool for an investigation.
Yeah, I agree. So, Dave?
Well, it's a Ouija board, isn't it? It's a parlour game, as I said. And the most thing it's valuable for is scaring vulnerable people.
Yeah.
You know, anybody brings a bloody Ouija board into an investigation, they automatically get stoved in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You know, what's the use of a Ouija board? At the end of the day, what you see on telly, what you see on Most Farted and stuff like that, is in effect acting. It's TV, it's acting. Everything that goes on there is pre-planned and acting. There's somebody moving it around, there's somebody tipping the tables, etc., etc. It's all bull. But where can I?
They've got a get out clause now, you see.
Yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
No. I'm talking about things like this with the Ouija board, glass divination, crystals, all that kind of stuff, where people like us will sit there and say it's a load of rubbish, it's someone deliberately pushing it to freak their mates out, right? You have now got people saying it's the idiomotor effect.
Yeah.
I'm moving it, but I don't realise I'm moving it. It's unconscious muscle movements. Or, yes, I'm moving it, but it's the ghost guiding my finger. So you can't bloody win, no matter what you say, can you?
A big stick can win.
You better end up with a prison sentence.
Well, mate.
Yeah, but you could say with the idiomotor effect, you could say the same thing when you table tipping.
Well, yeah.
Exactly saying, why use a table? Like, to talk to someone. So move the table. We're all standing around it. Rock it.
Yeah, move it without us touching it. That'll impress me. Blindfold everyone that's pushing the glass and using the Ouija board. You know, blindfold them and then have it spell out words. That'll impress me.
But then they'll be speaking in foreign tongues.
Ah, yes,
yeah. Gobbledygook. Oh no, it's a child coming through and they can't spell.
Ah, yeah, see. So you got to think of these things, you see. Before you poo-poo it, you got to think of it.
Yeah, as Brian Saunders has just said in the chat room, if a ghost can move a table, it can damn well pick up a pen and write.
Yeah,
exactly.
But then you've got your automatic writers who are in no way connected to the spirit world at all.
No, and your spirit artists and all that kind of guff. And see, people might think that we're just like three victim elders just dumping on everything. But as we've already said, we've been doing this an awful long time now. We've been out there investigating. We've been on the public stuff. We've done a lot of the private stuff. People's houses that have had these nutters go in with a medium, using Ouija boards and EMF meters and ghost boxes and telling them that it's haunted by this, that and the other and it's going to cost you 500 quid for us to get rid of it. Oh yes, it happens. They've recently got an email off of 2 pensioners that were absolutely terrified, weren't they?
No, that was a phone call, yeah.
Oh, it was a phone call?
Yeah, 2 pensioners over in Nottingham who were absolutely... In fact, hold on, there's a little piece of paper that I took some notes when I was there. There was several energy entities. There was a creature outside. Mia Dolan had been in contact with them. Several other mediums had been in contact with them. They'd had tests to clear them from... One of them had Parkinson's and had tests to clear them from hallucinatory things. The husbands witnessed things. It was near to Newstead Abbey, and they were claiming it had a lot to do with Newstead Abbey because if I remember correctly, Lord Byron owned... Well, I should know because he's a forefather of mine. He owned Newstead Abbey, or his family did, and thereafter the people were suggesting that some of the things that were occurring to him occultly were occurring to them occultly. Mm-hmm. And some of the people who'd been in had filled them with so much crap. And when I said, okay, right, this is what I can do for you. This is, if you want me to do this for you, please go away, think about it, get back in touch with me in a couple of days. They never got back in touch with me because they were having their minds filled with crap by people like Mia Dolan, like mediums, like half-wit spiritualists, who were filling them with absolute stupidity. And this is a pair of pensioners who were scared.
Yeah.
I'm a bit speechless because I'll end up swearing again.
No, it is. It happens. And this is why we get so angry about it, because it does happen. And it will continue to happen until some kind of legislation, I don't know what, but, you know, it is a get-rich-quick scheme. You've got to go...
Let's look at that. Let's look at this legislation.
Yeah.
Over 2 or 3 years ago, there was an ASAP conference. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'll quote from mind. ASAP claimed that they were in communication with the government to set up a legislation and become the lead figure of all paranormal groups in the UK, where they legislated all the things that were going on, when they were able to look at people, look at groups, and if you wanted to hunt ghosts, and I'm doing that many question marks either side of my head, you had to go through ASAP. That's if I remember correctly. Forgive me if I'm wrong, anybody who's listening. Go away and check that. What happened to that?
Who died and put ASAP in charge?
That was bullshit.
Dave, who died and put ASAP in charge?
ASAP died. If I remember correctly, ASAP were in communication with the government. They wanted to be... They think gospel of everything. ASAP think the gospel of everything. I've not seen a thing that ASAP have done which has impressed me in the last 20 years in any way, shape or form.
Well, this is...
Before that, some of the work that ASAP done was absolutely fantastic. It was groundbreaking. And since then, you've got people in place who are just trying to make a name for themselves.
Yep. And this is the paradox with it. Yes, it would be good to have a body in charge go to and maybe get training from, but who polices the police? Who's to say that they're doing it right? That's the thing. And everybody has got an opinion on the subject, and there's just no legislation there for it. You know, there's just...
I wouldn't like to police it, and to be honest, I wouldn't like to be policed, because what somebody says I'm doing wrong, I may disagree totally.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people in the UPIA in the past who have told me things are wrong. I've gone away, I've re-looked at things, and I've come back and said, yeah, fair dues, you're right. I've had several text messages tonight of a member of the UPIA who's been saying, right, you've done this wrong, you've done that. Well, not saying it in that sense. He's explaining things to me in another sense. And from me saying this on here, what you've got to remember is everything I say is my own personal belief and my own personal thoughts. He's made me think in a different manner to things thereafter, because that's what I'm about. You know, if I'm saying it wrong, you tell me different. I'll go, I'll look, I'll research it, and I'll find out if I'm right or wrong.
Well, that's right, mate. We don't know it all. I don't know hardly anything. Like I say, I've been doing it years, and you're always learning. And this is why I love doing this show. This is why I've had 2 years off break, because there was so much going on. I know Stu's had so much going on. I know Dave's had so much going on. You know, but I love doing this show because we're going to get people on that have written books on the subject and going to give us their opinion and maybe make us think twice about things. Okay? So we've dumped on a lot tonight, all right? But let's balance it out a bit. This makes it sound like we're all complete non-believers, all right? Nothing could be...
We're not dumping on anything. We're trying to rationalise it to give it some sort of sense.
Yeah. All right? Now, if I'm asked, Stuart, do I think ghosts exist? I'll go, I don't know, mate.
Yeah.
Would you say the same?
I would say there's something. It's not a ghost, but it's something unexplained.
Right. What would you say, Dave? Because I'm going to ask you in a minute, because I know you've had some cases that have made you scratch your head to this day, haven't you?
I have indeed, and I would say yes. I believe that, I wouldn't say ghosts exist, but I believe the paranormal exists. There's far too many people, and let's take this before the paranormal become cool. Before that, when people were reporting things because they were worried about things and they wanted to talk to somebody, there's been far too many people. And one of the phrases people have said in the past was, policemen have said this, nurses have said this, people who you trust. At the end of the day, anyone could be a liar. Anybody can make things up and everybody can get things wrong. You take everybody on the word. And everybody who have come to me in the past and reported ghosts, paranormal activity, UFOs, anything like that, you've got to take them on the word and research stuff. And from the information that's come to me in the past and things I've been privy to, I'd say yes, I believe in ghosts. But I've never witnessed a ghost, a fully fledged manifestation of a 1720s country gent, but I've witnessed some pretty profound things, and I've been privy to people who have also been witnessed some profound things, and some of the data that's come back to me both from the UPIA and from witnesses themselves have left me in no doubt that profound things do exist. It's just explaining them and being able to explain them that's the issue.
Are there any cases that you've been to? We're going to go on to the other stuff in a minute with regards to the other subjects that we're going to be covering in the show over the weeks. But let's just stick with all things ghosties at the moment. Is there a case or a couple of cases that you've been privy to, that you've actually been involved in, that have freaked you out, that you can talk about? And I know you've got to be careful because of confidentiality, and I know you don't like broadcasting to all and sundry, oh, this went on at this address and so happened. But just tell us what you can.
I'm trying to put things in words that won't sort of could do away with things that you just said. I mean, there's one of the main things to me, there's a case at a location in the Midlands which a lot of things were reported before we went to the location, and we were able to explain many of the things that occurred that were reported. But at the same time, we were left with more questions than answers regarding things that were witnessed and were people in the UPIA were privy to. And one in particular, there's analysis information that we do have with something that occurred which analysis has taken place on the item and has, you see, I'm trying to choose my words so carefully here. Things have been found with that item which suggest that one of the reports is correct because something appeared on this item and was analysed to find that it was what was suggested. And this was in a locked-off room with video recording taking place at the same time. That's the best I can offer you, but
right, no, that's fair enough.
Hopefully one day I can, release that information generally, or the UPI can give that information out generally.
No, that's cool.
Very much a struggle, that.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to tell you off air what that is.
Well, I've got to respect you for that, mate. When you go in to see these people, you do sort of tell them that everything that you tell us is going to be treated in the strictest confidence. Whereas some people go in.
Not just that, I have to respect the confidentiality of the case managers on the case. It's not for me to go forward and start discussing something without the approval of other members of the UPIA or other people who were privy to things that took place. I can't go and give that information out without their say-so. And the same with them. Hopefully, I hope they will be able to do the same thing without other people's involvement.
I bet you don't do something that someone else does.
What's that then?
Walk into a location, right, into someone's house, and before they even pick up an EMF meter, they make them sign a deal that they got rights to the book. Seriously, you wouldn't credit it, would you? Honestly, at least, oh God, shoot me now, please. All right, right. So yeah, we're not dumping on it all. We're dumping on a lot because, well, basically that's our opinion. If you've got your opinion, get your own radio show and give it. But that's ours, okay?
Not just that. Contact ourselves and ask to be an audio participant in the chat itself. Mm-hmm. Tell us your part of it. You know, tell us what you think. Give us your time, give us your information, and, you know, we can discuss it. We're not going to slag anybody off. If they come on, you've got your beliefs. We're not there to alter your beliefs. We're there to discuss what your information is, what your beliefs are, and what you want to discuss. That's right. That's what this station, what this show is all about.
That's right. And there's only one time when you'll ever hear us cop a moody with someone, and it's only happened once.
Yeah.
Where I was
sorry about that.
So no, not you, Dave. I was so disgusted that I actually phoned into the show and told the guy exactly what I thought with him. And that was a guy that said that he could cure cancer and that he was advising all his clients to stop taking their medication. So yes, so I told him his fortune and he didn't like it and he's never done a radio show since. So that's the only time you'll hear me go off the deep end.
Years ago, wasn't it?
It was years ago. It was on Blog Talk. It was a good friend of mine, had him on as a guest, and I actually apologised to me mate afterwards and said, look, mate, I just couldn't sit and listen to that anymore. And he's got a book out over there in the States, and I wish him nothing but pain and suffering with this book, because this is his philosophy. And his name is Phoenix Amadeus. That's the name he goes by. And I wish him nothing but sorrow, because the guy is a disgrace. So there you go. I've named him, and I don't care.
Right.
So there you go. Right. So we've talked about ghosties. As the weeks go on, you'll hear us say other things like elementals and poltergeists and possession and things like that. Not going to get into that tonight. All right, because we could end up doing a 10-hour show, all right? So we will get people on that are involved in this. Hopefully we'll get people on that do exorcisms, things like that, because that's always good for a giggle. Because I go to town on these people. They're the other ones that get my back up. So let's talk about some of the other subjects in this vast umbrella that we call the paranormal. Okay, now, something that's very close to my heart just recently is the UFO phenomena. Oh, no, not UFOs. No, seriously, right? I was brought up with a very kind of scientific background, all right? My dad was mad on astronomy, therefore I was mad on astronomy. I remember laying out in the garden till 4 or 5 in the morning on a sun lounger, looking up because there was a meteor shower going on, you know, that kind of stuff. So UFOs were always a big no-no because the distances were too vast, you know, even travelling faster than the speed of light, which you can't do according to Einstein. They couldn't get here because it would take years and years and years. Fair enough. Don't bother me again. Okay. Now, I've heard of some cases recently that I've gone into in depth, the ones that I'm sure you're all aware of, ones like Roswell, the Rendlesham Forest one that was here in the UK. If you haven't heard it, I'm hoping I'm going to talk nicely to the people to try and get them on the show, witnesses from the US Air Force that were actually involved in it. And it's kind of made me raise an eyebrow a bit. You know, I'm kind of, there's something to this. And I know it's something that you're interested in, Stuart. You've been looking at this, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
What has kind of got your juices flowing about UFOs?
It's just, you can't be alone on the planet, can you? It's just we can't be the only living things on the entire Earth or in the universe that we're here. So I've always, I mean, as you're saying with your father, my dad, he's really into astronomy as well, so I got into it. It just makes you think. I mean, it's only recently, now we're getting the show back here, I started looking into it, and it's all there's new places I found that I never knew about, where things have happened. And I mean, recently I was reading about the case of Shag Harbour, where it was a USO, which is unidentified submersible object. Basically, it actually came out of the harbour, and it was there for 4 hours with police and everyone there. There was about 50 witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still sort of reading about that. There's a place in Romania where there's a kilometre of grounds in a forest which nothing grows on. There's radiation there, and it's UFO sightings there all the time.
Right, so you are kind of leaning towards there's definitely something going on, yeah?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Especially with all, I know we could talk about Area 51 and things, but so many eyewitnesses and accounts out there that you can't sort of dismiss it.
Absolutely. So I'm just getting a message off Sam. You go in the full 2 hours, she said. We're only going to be doing half an hour, won't we? We'll just keep gassing until one of us loses the will to live. Right, Dave.
I need a wee.
Right, Dave, go and have a wee, right?
No, carry on.
Right, now, Dave, because I know this is a kind of big passion of yours as well. I know you like your UFOs. And before you think we're talking about little green men from Mars and all that kind of stuff, we're not.
No.
All right? So what is going on, Dave? I know there is a lot of stars in our galaxy. I know there's a lot of galaxies out there. I think it's 200 billion stars, 100 billion stars in our galaxy and 100 billion known galaxies, which kind of makes us being the only life forms kind of impossible, doesn't it? There's got to be. Even if it's 0.5% of the planets in our galaxy have got life, that's still millions of civilizations, isn't it? Are they coming to Earth? Is there a way they can get here? What are the theories behind it?
I'm a Trekkie. What can I say?
Yeah. Clearly an authority then.
Oh, yeah, I know me still. Well, you know, who's to say that things can't exist, technologies further than ours in other areas? Who's to say that people can't jump at light speed and stuff like that? We don't know that. You know, let's look at Star Trek. Some of the things that were on Star Trek 50 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever it is, silly amount of years ago with Captain Kirk and that, they're actually now in modern day technologies being used and trialed.
Yeah.
The Harry Potter invisibility cloak, a big thing on that was in the newspapers and on the internet not long ago, how they're using certain things now which can alter people's perceptions by covering them with this thing which makes people invisible. You know, them things are there. So who's to say that things can't exist from other planets? I've been involved in the subject since 1998. In my youth, there were books of paranormal and stuff, you know, just general bits and bobs that had been there for years. And I'm talking really old books. And it was only back until 1997. It was just before I'd begun the UPI. And it was one of the reasons I actually formed the UPIA. I witnessed something quite odd, and this is about the third or fourth time. And when I was at school, there were people from my class at school who were sat in Miss Willis's class back in about 1987. We sat all day in a classroom looking at something above Shell. To people who know Ellesmere Port and the Shell oil.
Oh, no, it will. Yeah.
There was something in the sky above Shell for hours when I was a kid. Living in Girton Road back when I was a kid again, we witnessed something peculiar above the skies at Shell then. Don't know what it was then. I could, you know, probably look at things now and try and find out more information, but, you know, historic cases like that, generally you're not able to follow up as well as you probably could.
Mm-hmm.
But one in particular that really stirred me was back in 1997. I was walking in Bevington, and somebody said to me, "Where's Orion's belt?" So I pointed up in the air and I went, "Look at me, what's that?" And there was to be honest, at this moment in time, I couldn't tell you what size it was. It was big, and it was the letter A shape, but the block capital letter A.
Yeah.
But without the little cutout in the middle of the A. And there were there were 5 lights on it. And it was, it swiftly moved off in it was quiet as anything. It moved off dead really, really quick. Now I'd look at it and say that was an experimental aircraft. I know from the research I've done and information I've been privy to that BAE Systems in Waterman, I'm an aircraft engineer by trade, I've worked at BAE Systems. They run a lot of experimental programs up in Waterman, near Tidmarsh, and a lot of drones have been flying up and down the Fylde coast. Now, if you look on the internet and look at the Fylde coast history of UFO sightings, they're quite substantial. There's your answer, BAE Systems Waterman, and the drones that are flying out of there. That's my answer to what I witnessed. But it spurred me. It spurred me to look at the UFO subject a lot more precisely. And unfortunately, I cannot in any way, shape or form subscribe to US ufology because it's completely and utterly slapstick. It's just so humorous, it's untrue. Yeah. Some of the things that people are witnessing, some of the stuff that they're putting on YouTube is laughable.
Are you talking about the guy that lives on the farm in Ohio or Idaho with a piece of straw in his mouth? Says, I done got abducted and they did something to my bottom, boy. One of those.
Or was it the top of my head, the Arizona lights, the ones above the Arizona desert?
Yeah, or the Phoenix lights.
Phoenix lights. Simple geese reflecting the lights from above.
Yeah.
They're up above, reflecting the lights on the white breast down below. Quite simple, nothing at all. It's the information from the UK that's always interested me, and I've been privy to information. I've interviewed people who have witnessed things at Berwyn Mountain, the Berwyn UFO crash back in, was it 1974, top of my head, can't remember, somebody will pull me up on that, no doubt. The Rendlesham Forest incident, although it was a lot of US buffoonery going on, again, it was a British case. But it's, to me, the thing that grabs me the most is when people report a UFO to me, personally, or to the UPIA, and I can actually go away and look at the nuts and bolts of them cases to find out more information and try and find out what that person, that means more to me than anything. I mean, there are other people out there, Joe McGonigal, David Clark, Andy Roberts, who, to me, are UFO historians. They're the ones that go out and they'll go down to Kew and they'll go through the archives and they'll bring all that information to the human. Joe McGonigal, I've never seen anybody with so much bloody boxes of information in my life. He's got files and files and files and files of historical documents regarding UFOs, all from Kew and such like that. It's absolutely phenomenal. But to me, I'm a nuts and bolts investigator, and somebody comes to me with a UFO. And unfortunately, it's much more difficult now than it was when I started the UPIA, because most sightings now tend to be misidentifications and misinterpretations. They always were, a lot of the time, but now it's, planets and this, that, and the other. And, of course, Chinese lanterns. At the moment, not only have we got the British fireworks and stuff going off for Guy Fawkes on the 5th of November, which now seems to be about 2 weeks long as opposed to one night. But we've also got, at the moment, the Diwali, the Indian Festival of Lights. So people are going to be releasing the Chinese lanterns and the Indian lanterns and such like that as well. All year round. Somebody put on my Facebook profile the other week on their status looking for Chinese lanterns. Anybody know where to get them? And I was like, no. But it's continuous, and it's not as easy to take part in ufology now as it used to be. And there were so many nice people who used to be involved in ufology, and now it's so over the years it's been political, but at the moment, ufology on a whole is just political. It's people I know better than you. You know nothing. Blah blah blah. Quoting this, that, and the other. Armchair ufologists who sit there and quote historical data as opposed to getting out of the chairs and going and doing something nuts and bolts and the amount of sky watches I've took part in the past, you're not going to see UFOs. You're going to look at aerial phenomena. You're going to see planets. You're going to see Aurora Borealis. You're going to see
International Space Station.
Yeah, all things like that. People don't realise, for instance, there's a website called heavensabove.com, and it's like a bus timetable. You can look at the sky. You can say, oh, what's that? Going east to west. What time is it? 12:33 at night.
Yep.
Go onto there, look at that, bus timetable, it'll tell you the exact name of the satellite you've just witnessed.
Yeah, we did it the other night with the ISS. We were stood out in the garden with the kids. I said, right, that's where it's going to appear, and then it's going to disappear up there. And anyone that didn't know, we saw this big bright light come over from the horizon, got above our heads, and it disappeared. Oh my God, it's disappeared. It's a UFO. No, it's not. It's gone in the Earth's shadow. The sun is no longer reflecting off it so that we can see it. But anyone that doesn't know, they freak out at that, you know. Anyone that sees Venus first thing in the morning or last thing at night on the horizon, they're going to freak out. I mean, you've got stars up there. You've got Betelgeuse, or Betelgeuse, as some people call it, on the left-hand side of Orion. It actually flashes white, red and orange. You know, it's a bloody great big star that's due to go supernova. But if anyone doesn't realise what they're looking at, all the other stars look white. This one looks red and orange, and it's beautiful. You know,
one of the greatest things to interject. One of the greatest things I've ever witnessed in the sky is quite a simple satellite. Which name eludes me for the moment. Can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's a satellite which reflects the sun at such a magnitude when it reaches a certain height. It causes a lens flare, and it's quite a thing to behold. It looks like an explosion out in space, and I'm going to Google it on my website because I can't remember what it's called. It doesn't tell you. So you kept me talking for over an hour longer than you should have done.
Sorry, mate, I'm all right. But no, it's so to have a knowledge of the night sky is kind of a must, isn't it? If you're into ufology seriously and you're going to go out doing sky watching, then sort of have at least a basic knowledge of what you're looking at. Because yes, you're going to see a lot of things moving in the sky. You're going to see airplanes and stuff like that. You're also going to see a lot of satellites that are moving quite fast, and they don't flash, and they do disappear, and this, that, and the other. You're going to see a lot of shooting stars or meteors, as they're, you know, they should be known as, because they're not stars at all. Things like that, you know. So, but if you're into ufology, do what I have done. Instead of sitting there dumping on it for years, which I did, look at some of the cases. Look at some of these cases that Dave was talking about. Look at the Rendlesham case. Now, the Rendlesham case is one really that has had me scratching my head, because I can't see how that amount of people could keep that lie going for 30 years. You know.
By the way, it's an iridium flare. I've just been texted to remind me. Iridium flare, IRIDIUM. So if anybody wants to see that, go on YouTube, and I'm sure there'll be an iridium flare somewhere for you to have a look at. Cool.
Yeah, I'll certainly have a look at that. I like the look of that. I like the sound of that. But no, the Rendlesham case, which is they're calling it Britain's Roswell. Check it out. Check that one out. It's more impressive to me than Roswell was. All right, and Roswell is the one that everybody's heard of. You know, the one that came down in the desert in the States in the 40s. 47, Dave?
Yeah.
47?
I think that Rendlesham, I know one of the main witnesses reasonably well, and actually give much credit to Rendlesham personally. I think it's there's certain people who have come out with their information regarding the case who have said completely the opposite to what other people have. The famous. At the end of the day, look at the people who are reporting it. Yeah, the people out now and about now who are coming out and saying this took place, that took place still. Yeah, there was a conference last year for the anniversary of the case. Yeah. At the end of the day, they're making money out of that, so they're going to keep on saying it.
Yeah, but at the time, back in 1980, it was reported at the time, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, but it was also reported at the time by other people that things didn't occur. You know, most of the people who originally reported the case, not the ones who the media have been speaking to, but the other people who reported the case said it was nothing more than the lighthouse. Personally, I believe something took place there. Yeah. I personally think it's something to do with, I don't know, an experimental aircraft crash landing or something, but I don't think a UFO has landed at Rendlesham.
Really? That's the position you're taking on that one? The jury's out for me. It really is out, because I've had a look at testimony of some of these people. Yes, there are a lot of inconsistencies. There is a lot of arguing and that going on. But to me, it's there's too much to it. You know, there's reports that the British police were involved in it as well. You know, they had police officers out there, and there is a lot of footage out there that, you know, sort of kind of got confiscated and things like that, you know. So I definitely think there was something went on. But whether it was an experimental aircraft, I don't know. I don't subscribe to the Alford Ness lighthouse phenomenon. You know, they knew that lighthouse was there. It's been there for years. They know what it looks like.
But what you don't take into account, the night before was a British holiday, and half of the camp were pissed. So let's think about things. Let's think about things laterally now.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. Some of the officers that were out there were dragged from a party, but I think that was on the second night, wasn't it? Not the first night. The first night was Burroughs and Penniston, wasn't it? They were the ones that were actually out in the forest after reports of a downed aircraft, which actually showed up on radar, didn't it? They had radar reports of it. And they went out looking for it, and they're the ones that actually...
Gary, I've got to stop you. It was reported that they had that information. Have you ever seen that information? That been information made privy to the public. You know, we've got this 25 years thing. Has anybody come forward with that information still?
Right, sorry, I'm just going by what I've read, mate. You know,
what you've read, nobody's actually come out with that actual data to say, yeah, that actually took place. Things.
Right.
This is it. This is the things were on radar. There's the report for it.
Okay, right. So there isn't a confirmed radar sighting of it. There's an alleged.
There's alleged. As in most cases when people say alleged.
See, this is the trouble. See, it's such a minefield, you know. This is it. I'm trying to correlate all this evidence, and it turns out that some of the parties that were involved in it are having a feud amongst themselves about what happened. You know, one of the guys, the other guy was saying, well, he weren't even out there. And they were saying, I was out there, I was just in a different part of the forest. And I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. And there's so many opinions, but apparently, to the layman, and I put myself in that category unreservedly, something apparently landed in the forest. It was seen, it was touched. It happened over 3 nights in 1980 around Christmas time. Quite a few people saw it, and I don't know the exact numbers, but there were quite a few people there from the US Air Force and British police, and apparently there were some civilian sightings of it. I don't know, but there you go. Another guy saw another one in a different part of the forest, and apparently saw this thing on the ground, and there were figures walking around it, actually in contact with some of the Air Force personnel, this, that and the other. So it is a fascinating case. I'm still learning about it. You know, have a look at it. Draw your own conclusions. That's all you can do, really, isn't it?
I mean, Rendlesham's not far from me. It's probably about half hour, 40 minutes away from where I am.
Yeah.
And I keep saying I've got to go there, just to have a like, see where it was and have a look around.
Yeah. No, we've got to go and do the UFO.
No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at something totally different. The Phantom's just been.
Oh, right. Well, I didn't catch that one, so I'll have to.
It was me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sam. Sam says, I know nothing about UFOs except that Gaz watches loads of documentaries. I watched the Canadian governor's speech and some Majestic 12 stuff and the Rendlesham Roswell stuff.
Well, that's the layman's.
Bless her. She despairs at me because I've always got this stuff on. No, she's talking about the Canadian governor's speech. Do you know the one, Dave?
Not off the top of my head. No, as I said to you before, Gary, you know, a lot of things that occur abroad I switch off from because they're all half-wits.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Canadian governor's speech. Stuart, are you aware of this?
No, I've only just found out tonight. Someone put it up on the chat earlier.
Well, have a read. Well, it's not a read, actually. It's a YouTube clip of this Canadian bod. I don't know who he is, but I think he calls himself a member of NATO.
Well, I certainly know one person who'll be able to tell you directly, and that's a good friend of mine, Paul Kimball, from over in Canada, ufologist and filmmaker, what have you. You know, I'm sure he'll have the inside info on that.
Oh, cool.
When we get to speak to Paul Kimball, anyway.
Well, that'd be good, because this was really interesting. He's actually come out and said on the record that this stuff is real when it's going on. So have a look for it. Disclosure. I think you just put in disclosure on YouTube and it will.
Oh, don't put disclosure in YouTube. You're going to get all sorts of bloody David Icke crap.
Oh no, yeah, don't. Oh, please. Cool, he's made some money, isn't he?
Canadian governor's UFO.
Yeah, just put it in, and he's on record. He's at a conference and he said, "I am the first person in this NATO whatever or to come out and say that this stuff is real when it's going on," and he gets a big round of applause and it's brilliant. So have a look, but you've got to try and wade through like Dave said, you've got to try and wade through all this guff, because there is an awful lot of guff.
You know, listeners who are going to be listening tonight, I don't know how many listeners we're going to have, be it 10, be it 20, be it 100, be it 200, be it 500. Everybody's got their own perceptions and beliefs. So, you're going to have people who are listening tonight who do prescribe to conspiracy theories and such like. People want to have the conspiracy theories going on in lives. People want to believe that the Rendlesham Forest, or do believe that the Rendlesham Forest incident was something of consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is my personal belief, and I'm still going to spout my rubbish back at you.
Well,
by the end of the day, if people want to go and look at the conspiracy theory stuff, say people haven't heard about disclosure before, they're interested in that type of thing, go and look at the disclosure stuff. Go and listen to the Canadian government.
Brian's just posted.
At the end of the day, Gary's got his opinion. Stuart's got his opinion. I've got my opinion. We're not here to discredit anybody or to put anybody down for having their own beliefs. We're there to have a conversation and a brainstorm about things that interest us, and other people might be interested to hear what we say, and to other people who come on the show to discuss things with us and what, like I said before, their beliefs and such like.
That's right.
Good night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And guys listening, don't be afraid to put in the chat room, Gary, I think you're talking a load of bullshit, mate. I don't mind that, because as Dave said, everyone's got an opinion on the subject.
It doesn't mean you're wrong, does it?
That's right. Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people's brains ticking. We're trying to get them thinking a little bit more. Thank you for that, whoever that is. Anon, put your name in.
Anon, it's me. It says co-host Dave before it.
It don't. It says Anon.
Yeah,
it's both I'm kind of co-host Dave.
You've been banned from the chat, Dave.
Yeah, I love it. No, do that. Tell us your thoughts on it. And as I say, over the weeks we're going to be getting the guests on as well. And I'm not going to be getting a guest on and asking him what his favourite colour is and what his star sign is. We want to get the guests on and
find them as well.
You can ask them that if you want them to.
With all due respect, no other paranormal radio show asks them the favourite colour and what underwear they're wearing.
You can do that, mate, if you want to.
He will as well.
Yeah, we'll see how long we can keep them on the phone before they bin us off. Yeah.
Like Mr. Shaky Hands, we can do like a sort of like record thing. We can have it on the website, how long it was for people to bin us off. They can have a leaderboard.
Yeah. I still do that now on Facebook. I go on these pages, I say to Stu, what's this one? See how long I do before I get banned.
Yeah, here we go.
No, it did it. It took me, what was the last one? It took me 5 minutes, I think it was, before I got banned.
But that was just that was winding them up. It wasn't actually like calling them all names, was it?
No. I was putting my point of view across.
Yeah.
Yeah, which didn't actually match theirs, so they kind of got the ump and banned me, which brings me to another point, right? If you post a picture of what you think is a ghost on Facebook, and someone says, "Oh, I think that's the cat," or "I think that's a reflection of your net curtain," or "I think this," don't get the ump and ban them. If you're going to do that, don't post a bloody picture in the first place. If you're putting it on a public domain, you're going to get opinions. Yeah.
Do you know what's worse? Do you know what's worse than that? Putting an opinion on and having every single other person come on the same bloody chat and completely and utterly ignore your words and still have a conversation around you, and you can even words in like fart, and they'll still fart, and they'll still bloody ignore you, because the rest of them are bloody more interested in their own gump than what you have to say.
Yeah, blowing up each other's backsides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bloody stupid.
We could get onto orbs, but that's all
right. Don't even.
And that's just the end of the show.
Yeah, I'm not giving that the credit it deserves. Right. Okay. So we've. This is the kind of stuff we're going to be doing each week. As I say, there's going to be us three hosts. There's going to be a guest from whatever area of the paranormal we choose, or whoever we can bully into coming on the show. So let's look at some of these areas very quickly. How long we got left? We've got about 24 minutes before they kick us off the air, or before we lose the will to live and go off the air. But there's lots of other facets of this, isn't there, Dave? What kind of into the paranormal and unexplained?
It's absolutely huge. I mean, people don't understand what, they find one thing and they decide to concentrate on that one thing. But you've got so many things that you can actually, look at.
Well, you got your list on the UPIA website. I bet you ain't got it up, have you? The list, I mean.
Yeah, I have.
Have you?
In front of me now. Ghosts, haunting, poltergeist-type activity, UFO sightings, big cat, crop circle phenomena, alien abduction, alien interaction, extrasensory perception, government conspiracies, time slips, missing time incidents, secret experiments, secret facilities, spontaneous human combustion, astronomy, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, cryptozoology, animal mutilations, history, archaeology, spirituality, near-death experiences, and much, much more.
There you go, see? We are going to be busy boys.
Very busy.
And what we're going to try and do is we're going to get these people on, interview them, find out what their view is, give our views. Hopefully they'll stay on the phone.
Hopefully I'll go off before them. I'll stay, but can you let him go, please?
But no, there's so much to it. There is so much to it. Yes, there's a lot of idiots out there, but there are some people with some really interesting stuff to say. Like one interview I did when we was on UKPM radio. You'll remember this, Stuart. When we interviewed these guys, I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think it was from a show called Beyond the Edge.
Yep.
Am I right there? Beyond the Edge?
I think you're right.
Yeah. Where they actually went out to Romania, to one of these remote villages that are still convinced that vampires exist. And they are all absolutely, this little remote place, to the point where anyone that they bury, they cut their head off and put a stake through their heart first.
Pavegi Island.
Don't forget the brick in the mouth.
Oh, is it a brick in the mouth as well? That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. And this is still going on. It's incredible stuff, absolutely incredible stuff. It's amazing. So people like that we want to hear from. If you've got something, an interest in the paranormal, you can't be called an expert, because how can you be an expert in something you don't know whether it exists or not?
Yeah.
You can be very knowledgeable. Hey?
I was going to say, there's a certain group I want to get on, the Teenage Exorcists.
Are they like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, it's like
just comical.
You must know them, the three girls.
Yeah, I'd love to get them on.
Yeah,
they all play different kind of like violins and stuff, and they were on like.
That's the cause.
All right.
No, these three.
I know you're
girls,
lying, because there was a bloke in the cause.
Yeah, see.
So he left. So it's just the three girls.
No, these three girls are calling themselves exorcists, and they are very much living off the back of what Ed and Lorraine Warren did. Those of you who saw the film recently, which its name escaped me, I should remember it. I went to the pictures to see it for a laugh. The Conjuring.
Yeah.
That's Ed and Lorraine Warren, that have made a lot of money over the years going and exorcising spirits and stuff like that. And, well, I'm sure they haven't made a lot of money. They'll tell you they haven't, but bloody bet your life they have.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. Going and exorcising demons that apparently only live in America, because I've tried my hardest to find a demon case in the UK. I can't find one. So I've actually asked. No,
joking.
No, I have not come personally, Dave. I have not come across a demonic haunting case.
Well, you haven't looked hard enough, because you only have to look at people who follow Fred Batt to be able to find that out. I mean,
no, I'm on about a serious demonic.
You're not going to find a serious one. Come on. I mean, the UPI, we had one reported to us at the same location that we, and this gives a prime example to people about how wrong and people can be and how they should look at things properly. Mm-hmm. We had a case, the same case as the one I couldn't tell you about properly earlier, where they reported a demon, and part of it was called the demon room. And I think, if I'm correct in saying so, when we looked at the information that was given and we tested the room environmentally, we found that the bed was producing, it was acting as an antenna for EMF from the poor quality lights below it in the downstairs area. And when people were sleeping in that bed, they were obviously affected physiologically, and the dreams were becoming all over the place, and lo and behold, people were reporting demons. So there's one prime example of a demon case in the UK that was solved when wasn't me, it was another member of the UPIA who was able to ascertain exactly what was going on.
I should have clarified what I meant.
I thought you were going to say I shit you not.
Well, I don't, honest. No, what I meant to say was, I've not found the case that has got supposed demonic activity where someone's turned up and reported seeing someone levitate off the bed or speak in a foreign language, or...
I thought you were talking about the Enfield poltergeist case, do you know?
No, that weren't... Well, she didn't talk in another language, did she? She just talked in a different voice.
She growled a little bit, didn't she?
Yeah, plica ventricularis. Look that one up.
Yeah, spell it.
Spell it.
P-L-E-C...
Can I just interject again? I know you don't like me interjecting, but I'm going to, because apparently I'm a co-host. So
yeah, go on.
There's a question in the chat room from Stacey.
Okay.
Who I think has got a friend who's asking a question via Stacey, and she says, and I'm not going to answer this, I'm going to leave it to you two, I'm going to be the host for a moment.
Okay.
Why people think they hear and see things when they are on their own?
Why do they think they see and hear things when they're on their own?
That's correct.
It depends on your state of mind, okay? If you have watched a horror film, or if you are that way inclined that you think this kind of stuff is real, if you're easily scared, easily freaked out, stuff that normally you wouldn't think twice about, like a pipe cooling down, or the cat knocking the plant pot off the window, or the draft in the window causing the curtain to blow, things like that, you are going to be, hyper-vigilant.
Sensitive.
Yeah, hypersensitive, hyper-vigilant to this kind of stuff going on. So if you think your house is haunted, you'll bloody convince yourself that it is.
Yeah.
Basically. That's what I'd have to say to that one, Dave.
And you, Stu?
I'd say, I think it's more, if you're on your own, you're alone, obviously, with your thoughts. If your subconscious kicks in, obviously, it could be anything in the house as well, as we said earlier, like EMF and things like that. It's sort of, you lower your brain state, where you're more sort of open, because you're more aware, like the old fight or flight. You're ready for anything to make a noise, or anything that catches your attention will sort of keep you on edge.
Or you've got a ghost in your house.
Well, yeah, or that.
Come on in, Dave.
No, that was my question. I was letting you answer it for a change.
Oh, right, okay. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Stacey, how does your friend feel about that explanation in the chat room, if you don't mind?
Yeah, stick your comment in there, Stacey. It's we've all done it. I've done it, well, usually as a kid at the time, but since because I was always like, I remember laying in bed, right? Now I shared a room with my brother, and I used to see faces in his duvet, and it used to freak me out like no one's business. Like proper.
That was called Razzle, mate.
Yeah. Hustler, actually. No, and it used to freak me out. And I kind of getting involved in the paranormal, I start facing me fear, really. It did used to freak me out. And I remember watching a scary film and going to bed and hiding under the covers and, oh God, I'm terrified, I don't like it. And that's the kind of stuff, you know. What's Stacey put? Gary has just put my mind completely at rest. There you go, see?
Yeah.
You're very welcome. So, yeah, it's basically you're hyper vigilant. You know, you are in that mindset anyway, where you're likely to see something and freak you out. I'm trying to think of a medical explanation for one of them. Right, people see blue dots after they turn the light off.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they're seeing spirit. No, they're not. It's got something to do with the cones in the eyes adjusting to the light.
It's the synapses firing on the optic nerves.
There you go. Thank you, Stuart.
Yeah.
All right, so there's one explanation for what some people would perceive to be paranormal activity. So it's not, all right? So always try and look for the alternative explanation rather than jumping down the Scooby-Doo route, because usually there is an explanation for it.
Well, that's it. Just be rational and a bit logical. But
yeah.
And sort of, if you said jump on the band, to go, just think, hang on, is that window open? Just check first, and obviously you'll find something that's making a noise. Could be like a cupboard door that's sort of slightly ajar. As you walk along the floorboard, it locks. So it could be anything.
Absolutely. So there you go. Bit of advice for you. And
for anybody who does want to contact the show and, you know, try and make some arrangements to be a guest or to phone in or anything like that, if you contact the Zone Unknown via either Facebook, the Zone Unknown Show, the Twitter account, Zone Unknown Show, or the email address, which is zoneunknownshow@gmail.com. I'm sure Gary and Sam will be straight back in touch with you and make some form of thingies with you there. What's the word? Shut up, computer. Shouting at me. Sorry, my computer's shouting at me. Yeah.
As long as you're not a barn pot.
No, you can be a barn pot.
No, I don't. Oh, don't do that to me.
Come on, you've got to be fair. You've got to give everybody the right to speak. That's what the show's here for. You've got to give everybody the right to speak, be them believers in something, non-believers in something, or far-out believers in something. If they don't agree with what we have to say, or we don't agree with what they have to say on the show, then that's what the discussion's about, and that's what people want to listen to, be it right or wrong. No,
when I say barn pot, I don't want someone coming on that says that their cat is possessed by their dead mum or something like that. You know, no. I mean, got to draw. You got to draw the line.
Listen to.
I want to hear the one. I think Dave put this up. It's a pop star or something. It says her vagina's haunted.
Yes.
I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah. No, that one the other day, Dave. No, don't say it. Oh, quality. So yes, we are going to be getting some of these guests on. We've got some guests booked already. The one next week, I'm not going to tell you because I want to.
You've got to tell me and Stuart because we ain't got a clue.
Well, this is it. I haven't decided yet, but I've been in touch with the young lady. She was a guest on UKPN. Absolutely fantastic. I know you like her, Dave. I know you like her, Stuart. I've just got to.
I don't like anybody.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
She's ace. Yeah,
I don't like anybody. I'm not racist or anything like that. I state everybody.
Good to know. Oh, she's. What we'll do, as soon as we get the list of upcoming guests, we'll get those posted on the site. You'll be able to check it out on Facebook, all that kind of stuff. We will be looking into some of these famous cases, like the Enfield poltergeist, which I am quite a fan of, to be honest. I have actually interviewed myself and Stuart and Darren when we was doing UKPM. We interviewed one of the guys from it, Guy Leon Playfair. And he is convinced to this day that was a poltergeist, and that he's really been there and done it. You know, he's quite a well-respected guy in his field. So it's one of those things. Research the case.
What field is that then?
Ghosties, demons, that kind of stuff.
And
who exactly respects him?
He was respected back in the day because he was respected back in the day because he was a member of the SPR, who back in the day was a highly respected group. back in...
So, because you're a member of a highly respected group, you automatically become a highly respected person?
No. You'll get what I mean if you listen to the interview.
I'll listen to it.
He's highly respected by me.
Okay.
He's got a huge fan base out there because of because
of all these nice books that people have bought and made a fortune for him for.
Guy's up pulling teeth, isn't it? No, he is. He's respected by me. Put it that way. I think the guy's great. He's.
Have I just played devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Oh, that's ace.
It's good, isn't it?
I've never played devil's advocate before. I like that.
After the talk.
No, the SPR, the Society for Psychical Research, right? Back in the 70s and 80s, early 80s, I don't know the exact dates to it, all right, so you'd have to forgive me. It was kind of the go-to group in this country if you had something boo jump happening in your house. In fact, the people that it was happening to didn't have a clue who to go to, so they phoned the Daily Mirror.
It was actually founded in 1882.
Oh, there you go then. See? Whereas now...
Remember, there were an abundance of well-known Victorians and such like who remember the SPR. Don't quote me on any names because I haven't found it on Wikipedia yet.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of people of consequence. You're talking high and mighty Victorians, authors and such like who were a member of it.
Yes, it was
people who wrote books and made money.
It was kind of regarded as a highly academic society, wasn't it? It was very, very posh-talking chaps and ladies, and that was what it was apparently when this whole thing kicked off with the Enfield Poltergeist, which it's a fascinating case. We may even get some sound clips for you to have a listen to of the stuff that was going on in the house, but we've looked at it. We have got our opinions on it, of what it was, all right? So you'll have to get your opinions. We'll give you our opinions as well, and you've got to come to your own conclusion, which goes into the realms of psychokinesis and messed up teenagers going through puberty and things like that. So have a listen. One of the other things as well, we have discussed a lot of things that you can use on the show in the future. I actually am the editor of a website called The Paranormal Review, which gets a lot of books and DVDs and such like sent to us from all manner of people and publishers, and obviously reviewing them an honest and precise review on the Paranormal Review website. So we're hopefully going to be, offering the Paranormal Review to the show as well, where we can discuss some of the reviews that we've done, and maybe even discuss some of the books in depth with the authors who wrote them as well. Excellent.
Yeah, lovely.
I like it, because...
and I'm proper busting for a pee now, by the way.
Well, no, you can't now, see. I gave you the opportunity. You decided to cause an argument and play devil's advocate. Now you're going to have to sit and wait.
Yeah.
Listen, some of us have spent 2 days in hospital with renal problems, which are connected to my tinky winky. So
no, mate.
I'll go for a wee.
You go for a wee, go on. Oh, bless him. It was very kind of Dave, actually, to be on tonight, because he has been going through it the past couple of days. So it was good of him to make it. We kind of half expected him not to. But he's a trooper, bless him. Are you going to go for a wee or not? You're not doing it there, are you?
We've got about 2 minutes left before we have to go anyway.
You're not doing it in a bucket.
Empty bottle next to him.
I've got a Coke bottle with me, but it's all full of Coke, so I'll have to fill the Coke up. But then you've got problems with what'll happen with the Coke, haven't you?
So they called it Trucker's Tiger, didn't they?
Right, well, what we'll do, guys, we've gone about an hour and a half over what we said we was going to, so we've given people kind of a rough idea of what's going to be going on over the coming weeks. As I say, we will get that list of guests on, all right?
So what else we should do?
What's that?
We should have an X Factor type vote to vote off your presenter and put new presenters in the place.
Do that, by all means.
Yeah.
I'll see you then.
Get me Coke.
I'll email you sometime.
Oh, yeah, something else very quickly, an idea that Dave came up with today. We're going to be doing some live experiments as well for you guys listening to get involved in. So, yes, have a listen to that. I've not told you about that yet, have I, Stu?
No, they surprised me.
You'll love it. You will love it. I'll keep you in the loop. All right, guys, So, as I say, we'll get that list up. You can see who's coming on. Get involved. Get your questions into us by all means. All right. Just get your questions through to emails or whatever, Facebook, and we'll do our best to get them included. We'll see you in the chat room. Hopefully all these little glitches will be ironed out come next week. And basically, all that's really left is to say thank you to the two guys that have joined me. Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you, Stu. And
you're welcome. Thank you.
For having me, yeah.
No, you're more than welcome. And we will see you very, very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Night.